Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
I'm good, Eric. How are you?
Yeah,
How's your
I'm
day
pretty
been?
good, thank you. Pretty good, Andrew. Looking forward to another one of our chats. Today we're speaking about email marketing for personal trainers. Is it still worth it in 2025? That's what we'll be chatting about today.
Looking forward to it. It's a big topic that I love diving into with my own clients and something that I enjoy diving into myself because I've seen real traction in it. I've always been a big fan of it, but seeing it work inspires. So I'm looking forward to that chat with you today.
No, brilliant stuff. Look, for people who are listening to this for the very first time that don't know who Andrew is, I just want to give a brief introduction to Andrew because I've looked at your resume and I could have made this a lot longer, but I've tried to keep it as succinct as possible so people get the key juicy bits and they know that you are an expert, you have got experience, and you do know what you're talking about. So let's just go through a little bit of your resume. So today's guest is Andrew Wallace, a business mentor, marketing consultant, and a leading authority in fitness business growth. So you've had, and they'll see it on your website, we'll give them the details later of people you've worked with just to back that up. He empowers personal trainers, studio owners, fitness entrepreneurs to find their freedom by building profitable, important, scalable businesses that align with the lives they want to live. And again, that is just so important that you're building something that actually you want to live. It's no good building something that you don't enjoy. Pointless.
Agree.
Andrew specializes in creating proven marketing sales management systems that generate consistent, high quality leads, helping fitness professionals grow a sustainable business without burnout, guesswork, or overwhelm, which I think we can all be guilty at some point of all those three. I certainly have been. He works with established fitness business professionals, not to say he wouldn't work with newbies because you would as well, but typically established fitness professionals to increase profitability while working 25 hours or less, nice amount of time, to generate predictable revenue month after month. So we haven't got this feast or famine business going on, and build effective teams if you want to build a team and systems that drive long-term success. Please welcome a trusted mentor for the next generation of fitness professionals, Andrew Wallace. Great to have you on board again, Andrew. And we're going to dive into this
Hey,
topic. Email
enjoyable
marketing
to
for
be
personal
here.
trainers. Is it still worth it 2025? Before we dive in with my first question, I would just want to add and say, I think email marketing was worth it in 2024, 2023, 2022, all the way back. I think it's going to be worth it in 2026, 27, 28, and beyond. But you're going to tell us exactly why I have that belief, and you're going to back it up with some evidence. So let's kick off with the first question, Andrew. What makes email marketing such a powerful tool in today's fitness industry, in your opinion?
In my opinion, um,
And experience, of course.
and experience, yeah, true. Ultimately, it's you own that email list. So when my priority and the clients I coach, the priority is to build that asset of the business, because as we've seen. Facebook has gone down in the past, as has Instagram and other social media outlets. Equally, I've had clients that have contacted me and said, "Help, my world has ended. I've had my Facebook ad account frozen, or my Facebook account has been stopped for whatever reason." They're able to get it back in time through you know, pushing for that. But it was a frustration and stress levels increased. That wouldn't happen if we focus on elements that we own, and we own our business. And part of our business, or one of the assets of our business, is our marketing list. Because no matter what happens, no matter where we are, um, and if we lost everything tomorrow, if we've got a good quality list of people who know, like, and trust you, and you were to put out some great content with an offer, then there's a good chance that those people on that list will buy. Not everybody, but a significant percentage of them would. The bigger the list, obviously the more you're going to generate from that list, and we'll go into some numbers in a second or two. But for me, it's something that should be a tool that we look to grow, an asset we look to grow, and a tool that we look to use on a regular basis. And I feel it's still worth it. It was worth it 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and will, as you say, be worthwhile in the future as well. In that it's that owned asset. It's something that will grow with us. I mentioned data, and this is comparable to the social media. We all get drawn in by vanity metrics. Oh, I got so many likes. I actually got a comment on a video I posted. Hey, don't get me wrong, that's great. But does it bring in money to enable us to survive?
Sure.
Not instantly.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my notes here to get the numbers right. Email has the highest ROI of any marketing channel. On average,
Just explain what ROI means to those that are non.
good point. Return on investment. So if we were to put £1 in, or what the actual numbers are in dollars, but it doesn't necessarily matter. But for every dollar that we spend, in email marketing, we get 36 to $40 in return. So that's about 25 to £29 return from every email that we send. Now, that's significant. It's certainly a lot more than, let's say, meta advertising and the likes. Yes, you can generate good revenues from Facebook, Instagram, etc., marketing. But I know many fitness professionals who spend a lot of money on advertising and don't get a positive return from that. I had that experience myself. To be honest, I dabble now and again with that type of advertising. I get some wins, I get a lot of losses, but I do get visibility and quick returns that I can work with. We mentioned when we've spoken previously, I'm a much bigger fan of organic content that gets out there. It doesn't get that quick win, but it's there forevermore, and it gets found by people that are interested in your services. But email, as I say, has that highest ROI. And clients who engage with emails convert at much higher rates. And that doesn't surprise me because you're building a rapport with these people through the power of the word that you relay. Now, there is a caveat to this, and this is where I see a lot of fitness professionals. I've made this mistake myself, where our emails go out and it's a sales pitch. Hey, we're launching.
If I sorry to interrupt you, pause it. Are you about to go into the mistakes at the moment?
Are you? Quite possibly.
I just want to I want to keep it clear.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's a good point.
Because you've made some very good points there about why email marketing is so powerful. You own the list versus social media, you don't own it. You can build know, like, and trust with it, which is great. And I think it's important that people just understand how powerful having an email list is. In fact, I think people move address, i.e. physical address where they live, more often than they've ever changed their emails. I've known people who have moved multiple times but still have the same email address. And that's how, and people use it to access services, identification, for training. So email is that thing that they tend to carry around with them everywhere. But just to make another point before we go into the mistakes question, which I'm going to be asking you, is to do with that sales process. When you're relying on social media, as in regular posting, DMs, you're really trying to capture that small 3% of the market that are looking to buy now, which is a tough market to compete, because you're competing against all the advertisers trying to go for the 3%. When you've got an email list, you're really speaking to the 6%, the 20% who may not want to buy like now, like the 3% want to buy now, that everyone's fighting for. the 6%, the 20% that are happy to buy maybe next week, next month, 3 months' time, that's who you're communicating with. And if your list is big enough, you will start to get those ROIs that you spoke about, the 29, was it $29 per email? That's when
$36 to $40. So
that's when you're going to start to realize that as you build up your email list and you continually communicate with people. So
yeah, some valid points there, Eric, and good to revert back to that point. For me, the biggest change I found for myself when it came to social media marketing and with clients as well was that when I analysed, and crikey, I've analysed so many over the years now, posts and ads that they've done, but primarily the posts, was it again, it was all sales driven, and I understand that because we're looking to draw in new prospects, new clients. But as soon as we switched focused in delivering value in the content that our social media audience saw, really set us apart from perceived competition. And I got to that aspect through, I don't know if you've heard of the book They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. Great book. It's one of my, I would say probably in my top five, I would say, potentially, certainly in my top 10. It probably makes my top five business books of all time. But and I like the story. It was a challenging story Marcus went through. He was a swimming pool salesman, almost lost his business in 2008 when the global market hit, and realized they didn't have any money to market their company. So he started writing about what type of swimming pool you should have, and he was creating organic content. And that, fast forward to today, they've got the leading swimming pool business, and he's a leading marketer worldwide now through this type of content. And it really is, he made a list one night at his kitchen table because he'd been sat in his car crying and wondering how he was going to tell his wife and kids that they were going to lose the house. Thankfully, they didn't. And the reason they didn't was that he wrote a list of all the questions his clients or prospects asked him, and he created content, one piece of one video, one blog post, one social media post that answered each particular question. And that just got traction, built momentum, and it was driving significant traffic to their website, which then did the sales job. So it was a two-step process, and that's the approach that I feel we need to take.
So Andrew, with that in mind, then that leads into the next question, which is, what's the most common mistake that personal trainers make with their email list? Then, would you say, what's the most common mistake?
Common mistake is that, hey, we're feeling pressure. We've got to generate new clients. Let me start a new boot camp. Let me start a new 12-week weight loss program. Get onto our keyboard, tap, tap, tap. Let's send out an email promoting that new program or new service or new product that we're put together. And if we were to sit on the other side of the fence and be our clients or prospects receiving that email, and again, this is through my experience, a lot of my clients in the past do not enjoy writing emails. They struggle with it or don't see the value in it, or when they do, it's a promotional email. But if we're a prospect or client who's not had an email from us in weeks, months, years, and we get this email and it's a pitch, it's like, oh God, they're trying to sell me something. And it might not even get opened because they think, oh, all they ever do is email me when they want something. I'm sure I get those types of emails each day. And when I go into email, as we all do, first thing I'm doing is delete, 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 delete. Oh, there's Eric's email. I'll come back to that. Delete, delete, delete. And so we've gone from maybe 100 emails to 5, 10, or whatever. And then we start reading those ones because we've conditioned ourselves that, hey, I get value from from whenever Erik writes to me or whatever, and I'm open to opening that.
Sure.
But we have to, as business owners, understand that. So the biggest mistake I find, as I say, is that every email that gets sent is a promotional email. We're trying to sell something, and that's the wrong way to take that. We can dive deeper and into email and segmenting your list and things like that. But even if we didn't do that and we just did an email that goes out to our whole list, um, we've got to deliver value. Think, what do I want to be known for? What's my experience? What do I enjoy talking about? And if you're consistent in that approach, then not everybody on the list is going to like it. Some may and probably will unsubscribe. And that used to be a dagger to the heart to me when back in the day when that happened. Oh, I've lost someone on my list. But now I applaud that, because they were never going to ever buy from me. They just wanted something at that time that they felt was relevant or useful to them, but which is great. I'm glad that helped. But I'm cultivating. It's much like having a garden or a vegetable patch. I'm cultivating, get rid of the weeds so that those plants or vegetables can flourish. And it's the same with your email list. If we're managing it effectively, we're honing it so it's a tight audience. It's a community. I call it my tribe. Some people know clan. Your followers, but it's a group of people who love what you're about. They agree with you. They've got same interests, similar values, similar beliefs. So it's you're harnessing a community essentially, and that's what we're after, and that's what email can do. Ideally, we do it in person, but we can't. Obviously, everyone's. If you've got a global audience, you can't meet everybody on a regular basis in person. So you can through your email.
So just to get clear on that mistake then that PTs are making, the most common mistake in your opinion and experience is people going out and asking for the sale rather than doing a whole mixture of emails that offer education so that you condition them to open it up. So that's a good one. And I often say to trainers, people do one of three things, because you mentioned it about unsubscribe. I'll say they'll either buy, die, or unsubscribe. They'll do one of the three. So that kind of leads me on to the third question regarding emails then, and is it worth in 2025 for personal trainers? Can you walk us through like a simple welcome email sequence? And I'm going to preface that or just properly position this question. And we're not going to go into lead magnets today. We'll save that for another interview, but let's just assume that somebody signed up for your lead magnet, whatever that lead magnet is. Can you maybe talk us through very quickly, just maybe the first 3 or 4 emails, without going into detail about the content, but just what the idea behind each email might be in terms of what you're trying to get across to that person that signed up?
Again, this is born out of trial and error over the years. And for those that perhaps don't know what we're talking about when we say lead magnet, somebody you've offered, maybe it's a worksheet, a meal plan, a training program for them to receive in exchange for something of value, which is their name and email address. So they've landed on your email list. That's a significant step from them stepping forward and raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm interested in learning a little bit more about what you do and what you offer. And a big mistake I've seen a lot of fitness professionals make, and again, embarrassingly, I've done this in the past, in that they've been added to my list and it was crickets. I didn't do anything. I didn't say, hey, how are you? If you welcomed them to your home or to your place of business or to a party, whatever, you're going to say, hey, great to see you. Well, that's what we want to be doing when somebody has shown interest in what you offer. Let's treat them how we want to be treated ourselves. And that's where the welcome email sequence comes in play, because we're guiding them on the steps that we want to take to give us the chance to outline what we do. We don't want to go in, hey, thanks for downloading that, buy my product, buy my service, because it's way too soon on that. They might never buy from us.
Sure.
But who's to say that they know one, three, five, 10 people who may wish to buy from us? So we've got to present ourselves properly, and that's where the welcome email sequence comes in. So I'm listing out 5 emails that I would recommend. You might determine that 1 email is enough, or you might feel 3 is enough, or you might feel 12 is the number. It depends. You know your business better than anybody, and you know what you want to do. But for me, 3 to 5 is a good number.
Sure.
It gives us the chance to do these things. Firstly, email 1 is welcome them and outline the expectations. What are they to expect over the coming days? So in that welcome email, it's, hey, great to have you join us. Here's what you requested. Here's the link to the download if you've not already given them directed them to a page to get what they'd asked for. Or you might say, hey, if you haven't had time to download it, here's that to do. You might then ask them a question in that, because I feel that it's important, certainly more so these days, in that we get some reply from them. So you can ask a question, what drove you to want this, or what sort of training do you do currently, or whatever. Hit reply, because your email service provider is looking at how many of your emails get opened, how many emails get deleted or unsubscribed from, because that will show that, again, we're trying to spam them or overly promote, and email providers don't like that. They want us to do business as it's meant to be done. But if they see that the replies are being sent, they show that there's a good engagement, and that allows more emails to go out, because they can see that we're a trusted business, and the people we're sending emails to are wanting to receive our emails. So they won't land in the I'm thinking of Google here, in the promotions folder, or into spam or junk, which can happen. So the welcome email is a good first introduction. Email 2, then, I feel a good piece of content for that one is a personal story. This is where we can give some background about ourselves, that we're married, or we've got a partner, or we've got kids, or it could be what got you into your business, into fitness in the first place, or whatever. Just something that you're unpeeling the onion, so to speak, just giving a little bit. We spoke about this previously, being human. Just when you meet someone for the first time, you're getting to know who they are. This email gives you the chance to be able to do that. Email 3, then, I feel, is where we can deliver a valuable quick win tip, I call them, or access to another resource. So it might be, when you're working with clients, and the types of questions they're asking, then you can talk about that in that email. Or, for example, with clients, we talk initially, the foundational elements that I talk with clients, and with another team I work with, is WWS. There are foundational elements when it comes to fitness. That's walk, water, sleep. Before we even start going into what types of training and stuff, we need to get the basics in play. Are you drinking? We call it the 777. 7 glasses of water, at least 7,000 steps a day, and at least 7 hours of sleep a day. If you're getting them in play consistently, as we know as fitness professionals, you're doing great. Obviously, we want them 10,000 steps and so on and so forth. But that's a good entry level that we look at.
And that's
so you might.
3.
That's email number 3. So you might talk about that. That's what I would potentially talk about in my email 3.
Yeah.
Email 4, I might start positioning myself as the expert in my field. So this is the best way to do that is not saying me. Um, it's having a client story. So talking, maybe introducing some testimonials
Yeah.
can play. I personally would prefer a client success story that if I'm coming to you, Eric, and I'm interested in learning about your online training program. Um, if I receive an email from one of your clients that says talks about how they were a little bit unsure at first about joining the program because they've tried programs in the past, but their previous failings and seeing a photo of themselves on the beach or at a barbecue and seeing your video inspired me to connect with you. But if I receive this email of somebody who looks like me and a similar age that's got over those trepidations and has had success, then that's of interest to me. Go, hey, um, this sounds like something that I can get behind. I've got similar challenges to that person had. So email 4, I think, is a timely um, point to be able to start transitioning towards inviting them into having a discussion. We're not trying to push the sale on them. We're just showing that, hey, we know our stuff, and here's somebody saying something about that.
Sure.
And then email 5 in this 5 email series is what I call a soft invite to take the next step. I'm not saying, hey, buy this product. It's, hey, if you found this valuable, if you enjoyed the download that you've had and you've enjoyed this series, then I invite you to let's have a chat. Or if that's not the next step that you take, come along to a free trial of my group training or whatever your initial step is. This final email is I feel the right time to take that. Certainly not email 1 where we go, hey, come on in. That's too soon. But email 5, we've been warming things up with showcasing who we are, what we're about, what our values are. We've given some extra valuable quick win tips or whatever. We've shared a success story. So there comes a time when we've got to nudge them to find out whether or not they are ready to take that next step. If they are, great. We take them down that process. If they're not, fine. They're not ready at this time. We've spoken previously about clients that took 18 months before they were ready. They're on your email list now, so we can connect with them outside of the welcome sequence with our ongoing emails, which might be a weekly email newsletter. It might be your musings when you're emailing whatever topics you want to employ. That's outside of the welcome email sequence. That's ongoing email engagement that we have with our list. But the welcome email sequence ends at that final email then, because it's done its job. It was there to welcome people to your list.
And again, you made some great points there. And one of the stories that I've often heard regarding starting the relationship is, you wouldn't walk into a bar and walk up to a woman or a man and say, hey, will you marry me? You build up that relationship, and then a couple of drinks, a bit of chit chat, maybe you go out for a drink, a meal, maybe go for a long weekend, and before you know it, several months later, maybe a year or so, then you might ask. And it's the same with what you're basically saying right now. But 3 quick things I wanted to mention here, which you've touched on as well, I think, which I think people need to understand within that email sequence that you've just described. And I love the content you put in there as well. One quick thing for the listeners to understand is this is automated. So once they've got the freebie magnet, you're not sat at your PC having to think up these emails. You've thought it up and they're automated. So you can be doing other things whilst this is happening in the background. The other one I like is the client story, because that is a great way of what I call doing like a Trojan horse. When people it's like when you watch a film, you know that Superman can't really fly. You know that there's no such thing as Incredible Hulk. You know that there's not really a Spider-Man. But whilst you are watching and listening into a story, you believe it in that moment in time. So stories about clients, which are true, by the way, but people drop their skepticism and they're more receptive to what you're saying, because you're not just saying, as you rightly say, hey, buy from me. You're giving them a story, and ideally, if they are the ideal target audience, they're going to relate to it. And the final point, I think, or final two quick points. One is for people to understand you've got the email sequence, the welcome sequence of 5, and then you mentioned your ongoing email, which also could be automated. So they may get 2 emails for a period of time, and that may drop to 1. So they might be on that sequence every Monday or whatever it is, and then your regular email might go out on a Thursday. So for a period of time, they may be getting 2 emails, but that's perfectly fine. And the last thing is, I don't know if you do this, but I certainly have done this in the past. I always make sure in my email there is a button that allows them to book a call if they want to book a call. Because some people, the freebie gift is enough to get them over the line. And they're like, you know what, and it should be in the freebie gift as well. But for some people, within that email sequence, I certainly always put a button in there. If you want to book a consultation, click here, rather than having to wait for the 5th one to be invited. So it's still exactly as you've described, but I just put in, I don't know what your thoughts are on putting that button in there. Do you put it in or do you not put it in?
I have used buttons at times.
Or I said button or just a bit of text that's linked.
But I always have, because you're right, you don't know when the right time for that person is. They might want to book in immediately after the download. They might have downloaded your lead magnet, not for the lead magnet, but because they'd already made the decision through seeing content out there that they want to work with you. We don't know when the right time is. So, but we've got to, you're right, we've always got to have what I call a call to action in the email. And I like them being subtle, but not too subtle that they don't know they're there. So normally for me, it'd be a PS. It might be within the email content itself, but in each of the emails, I say each of the emails. There have been times in the first email where I might not put that in there, but if it's not in there, there's the question and then hit reply. So I'm asking them to connect with me.
Yeah.
But it's a good point you make that yes, we want that soft sell approach because we don't know when they're ready, but a good portion of them will be ready at some stage, potentially in that sequence, potentially in your ongoing. But we've got to make it easy for them to be able to connect with us, and that's a mistake I see a lot of, not just fitness professionals, a lot of us making, that we put out great content, but then if we were to spend 2 minutes reading it back, we'll realise that we've not included how to contact us, how to connect with us, and that. So, but good point bringing that up for sure.
Andrew, again, good conversation, good information. Again, just to sort of summarize before we get some of your contact details for people that want to learn more. But yeah, I think we basically said that email marketing, yeah, it's going to be powerful. It was in the past, it is now, and it will be going forward. And you get a great ROI on it. I think you said $36, I think you were saying.
It was, yeah.
It's the biggest mistake that PTs make out there is they're trying to sell from the get-go. Let's not do that. Let's build that relationship up over, and again, rewind this video and make note of the content that Andrew said you should be looking at putting in your emails. By all means, tweak it, but I think the structure you've given is a good one. And then sequencing the whole thing out in an automated way. So for Andrew, anybody that wants to know more about email marketing or wants to have a conversation about how to grow their business, get more leads in, how can they get more information? Where can they go to find out more about you and contact you?
Good question. And
there will be a link. There will be a link in the description below as well.
Cool. Simple answer is my website, andrewwallis.com. Wallace is spelled WALLIS. Wish it was Wallace because it'd go with my moniker then of Braveheart, but it's IS, not ACE. AndrewWallace.com, or my socials at Andrew Wallace HQ.
Fantastic. Andrew, once again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Look forward to it.
Okay, bye for now.